Hey everybody, welcome back to Coffee with John. Good morning. Good morning, Sari Cicurel. Good morning. Sari, it's as you know, sometimes once I hit live, things come into my head. But next week or the week after, I will be at 1,000 episodes of my podcast, of all my podcasts collectively. And you were on my Think Business podcast, one of my first 4 guests. And now I think almost 700 episodes or something. I can't remember exactly the exact number of guests.
I always want to apologize for being your first guest.
No, it was great. I loved having you on. I loved it. So, Sari, I wanted to talk, you are a PR specialist, Sari Cicurel PR, saricicurel.com. And I love PR. I think PR is so important. Mm-hmm. And I remember back when I got into the business world, I'm 49 now. When I graduated college, I was 23. I remember like kind of the take on PR was companies got PR when times were bad.
Right.
And I would say over the last, for sure, 5-10 years, PR is when you in good times and bad times, especially now in the social media arena that we're in. PR to me is something that every company needs all the time. And I think sometimes people get confused on not only what PR is and does, because it's a delayed, sometimes gratification that the client gets, correct, but is it a short-term game or a long-term game? I have my opinion, but you're the specialist. So, and especially, I just want to kind of highlight this too, because I think right now we're kind of coming out of this we're in this endemic, right? And I think a lot of people are going to try to pause and take too much time off during the summer. Mm-hmm. And to me, what I tell my clients is whatever you're doing, double it. So I want your opinion.
And I always love that you have that for your clients because it's such a motivator. And you tell that to me as well. And then when I just was saying to you, said, how was your morning? I said, well, I took on 2 new clients yesterday. So, right. I've heard you this week. Right. You're right. I think there was this back in the day, people had PR when they were in crisis, or they had, or not even crisis. They had to get an immediate message out about a launch or something. Right. And the truth is that we always need to be communicating to our audience, whatever that audience is. Sometimes it's internal, sometimes it's external.
And sometimes it's both.
And sometimes it's very much both. And as far as taking time off, let me just address that one. Personally, take some time off. I was sharing with you the other day that some of my clients wanted to take some time off. And my advice is, it's July. Yeah, take some personal time. If you need to take personal mental health time, it's been a hard year. Take that mental health time, but not on your business. This is not the time for your business to take that time.
Well, business doesn't sleep.
Business doesn't sleep. And this is not the time for your business to sleep. If your business sleeps, your business will close down. That's not to scare anyone. It's not a threat. It's a fact. If you read anything right now, I shared with our group the other day that I was in Ferndale. A lively restaurant was going on a Saturday night. It's closed now. You don't know.
Rosie O'Grady's, I think you're talking about. Yeah, I read about that. Yeah.
And so the bottom line is, as far as PR goes,
can I just comment on that real quickly? Mm-hmm. I think I just want to kind of highlight one message that you're saying, which is we're all in the business of getting, of getting people's attention and keeping their attention. Mm-hmm. And we can't forget that, and when people's attention is kind of away from things and getting shorter. I mean, we human beings have a lower attention span than a goldfish, which is less than 7 seconds. And I would say this is my own statistic I'm making up, but I would say during the summer, their attention span is going to be even less because they're unplugging from a year and a half of being just cooped up.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing is, I just wrote an email to a client. And I said, we were talking about ideas. And I said, look, it's Wednesday. I'm going to have media people start checking out because it's the 4th of July weekend. And it's hard to say that, but they will. People, they have short attention spans. They start looking to, oh, tomorrow's July 1st. Well, I'm going to leave for a long weekend. And so as a PR specialist, yes, there's still media going on, but some of the anchors start sort of taking off for a long weekend. And so you have to gauge that too. But the important thing is you still have to be top of mind in front of them.
Yeah.
Your business is still going, and it's just not a time to take a break. But I think what happens, and thank God I work really hard at getting this message out. You can afford PR. And I think that people have to know that. And if I could ever get that message out loud and strong, is that if you meet with someone and they're not in your budget, then call someone else, because your message is important and there's someone there for you. There's many people that do what I do well.
Yeah.
And there's someone for you to tell your story. And so don't be discouraged if you meet with someone and they give you something that you can't afford. There are people in my field who have a higher price point than I do. And there are people who probably have a lower one. But, you know, it's really important that you tell your story.
Yeah. And not only tell your story, I'd like to end on this. Tell your story and make sure that your message is tight and right. And on point and talking to your audience. I see a lot of companies. I work with a lot of companies, from solopreneurs to Fortune 100 companies and everything in between, whose messaging is off, even sometimes as much as maybe a word, a feeling. So talk a little bit about the power of messaging.
Well,
I just want to say one thing, and to those people that even are thinking about pausing, I would say the only reason for pause is to clean up your message if it's not tight enough.
So even when you're cleaning up your message, don't go too far, because
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So as an example, in taking on 2 clients yesterday, the first thing I do with them, and I say this, I'll say to someone, I don't care if you're Coca-Cola, McDonald's, or a startup. The first thing I'm going to send you is a brand document, and it's a series of questions. And we are going to go through what you think your message is, what you're telling. And I'm going to look at it as the expert, and we're going to walk through that brand. And I know we don't have a whole lot. That's a whole separate conversation. But when you're working with someone, if they don't ask you how you're messaging, and then analyze how you're messaging, because sometimes you're right, John, it can be a word or two. It can be how you're conveying it. You can be off a word. You can be hitting the audience just wrong with 1 or 2 words. Sometimes I looked at a website yesterday and I just said, it's just not warm enough. That we just got to warm it up. Sometimes it's just tweaking something just to bring in that audience in the right way. And so messaging is the key ingredient. But again, I know it's July. I know it's not beautiful out today, but take personal mental health, but don't take it for your business.
Yeah. Don't put your business on pause. I think the pandemic hit and everybody pivoted and has been working so hard. But I really believe that that momentum, that pace of work, everybody working hard, it's going to be throughout the entire decade.
Yeah.
And so we all need to find our rhythm and our cadence. A pre-COVID study that I read in 2020 was saying that 85% of the jobs that exist in 2030 do not exist today.
Very true.
And then the pandemic hit, and many say that accelerated it 5 years minimum. And so we are in a decade of adaptability, major innovation, AR, VR. I mean,
Mhm.
we could go on and on. And so
I'll just add that not only that, where and how we work is going to look different too.
correct. The
And
hybrid model, right?
the hybrid, I mean, you know, my industry itself, from a media standpoint, most people know I don't go into a studio anymore, but I've had to take all my clients and teach them how to do, you know, all of those things from their offices or from wherever. So all of that, how they message and how they get their word out through the media is all completely different too.
Yeah.
But while they're doing that, their workforce is all different.
Yeah.
And so that's not going to change. It is working. And so the only change that's going to happen is how we adapt it into a greater workforce.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. The only constant is change.
Yeah.
Oh, this has been great.
And that's why, you know, it really is important to communicate to your audience, which could be your, you know, your customers, your your employees. I mean, I've dealt with a lot of my clients to say, how are you communicating internally? So I think that's also really important, but also to communicate to your customers, to your, you know, to your outside audience. So again, you know, I understand it's been a hard year. I've been riding it with, you know, hard with my clients. I've had the craziest, busiest year ever. It is not slowing down.
Yeah.
I get it. I work Saturday and Sunday, you know, sometimes just also wanting a break, but you know, you can't take a break. Life, you know, that's your business.
Yeah.
And
What I always tell clients is hyper focus, because that's when you can be very present. It's kind of getting into that I'm about to go on vacation the next day mode, and you get so much done. And so take that mental space, hyper focus till 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, and take half a day. But I agree. I think the theme of what I'm hearing you say is don't pause your business, right? We all have to be in growth mode. Sari, tell everybody who your ideal clients are and how they can connect with you.
You know, my ideal clients are really those who are going to work hard with me, and want to get their message out and want growth. So I have clients in every industry, which is such a blessing, because I always say I get to know a little bit about a lot of things.
Yeah.
My website is Sari Cicurel. I try and put a lot on social media, and you know, really, John, what I can tell people is I love when people just reach out to me and ask a question.
Yeah.
And if, you know, I can help them, most people know I try and help them and direct them. I also know this is the time of year where college students are looking for jobs. And I'm happy. I have 3 kids who have gone through this. I'm happy, parents who are listening, I'm happy to talk to your kids. I really am. I think what goes around comes around in life. So I'm really happy to try and help your kids on this path. It's been an amazing career that I probably will do until I'm living at Fleischmann. I say.
Oh man! Well, you know, Sari,
I kidded with a friend the other day. I said my next house will definitely have an elevator. It will be Fleischmann, but it will have an elevator.
Yeah, that's great. You know, I'm starting at the end of July a weekly 30-minute free master's class for students. So it's
You're always doing something crazy.
Well, I want to give students something. So we'll see if, you know, people actually show up and take advantage of it. But I'll have you join me a couple times. And,
I will tell you this. I can share this up. But I was down visiting my parents in February or something, and a bunch of kids had reached out to me. It must have been a school assignment, and someone reached out to me on LinkedIn and said, can I talk to you for 5 minutes? I said, of course, just, you know, here's a good time. I got on the phone, did a whole interview. He told me it was first assignment. He said, do you know you're the only one who reached back to me? And I thought to myself, shame on people in my
Yeah.
industry.
Yeah.
So, I really do believe, like I said, having 3 adult children who have looked for jobs in different industries, that people
Yeah.
have to help one another.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Hey, you got to give back. That is so important. We all have,
yeah.
giving and receiving values we got to kind of connect with and not forget about.
Yeah, I love that you're doing that. I love this. I'm always
Well,
up drinking my coffee,
Well, thanks.
my water in my other hand, my you do you.
All right, good. Sari, I appreciate you being on the show. SariCicurel.com, PR specialist. Thank you so much.
Thank you for everything you do.
Of course. Appreciate it. Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.